just the sort of 1-minute version of what regulation is, because people are very confused about that, including many of the speakers at this conference. You've got this sort of daily load is what people think about as your electrical sort of challenge. So an electric generator, electric distribution company has to meet this high peak. And they may want to fill in here. They may actually have a little too much electricity, or they've got cheap electricity available. That's a later market. What we're looking at is, in the shorter term, is a minute-by-minute adjustment that balances small fluctuations in demand and generation. This diagram shows just one place, but it's a 24-hour-a-day market, and it's not. You don't need more regulation up here. You actually need more regulation here as generators are ramping up and there as they're ramping down. So that's great, because whenever you're parked, whenever your car is parked, you can be on the regulation market. It's continuous. So that is controlled through signaling by the grid operator, PJM in our area, again, CalISO here. So we now have a vehicle running and responding to that market. This is showing data actually from real-time operation of the vehicle on the providing regulation for the grid operator. So here you're looking at the green as the state of charge of the battery, which is increasing over this 1-hour period. It just happens to be increasing now. At other times it would be level, and you'll see a case of that in a minute. The signal from PJM, the regulation signal, is in the blue here. And then the vehicle's provision of power is in red. So you can see this fluctuates up and down all the time because the need for balancing changes. And you can also see that the power from the vehicle matches very closely, not perfectly, but very closely what's being called for by the grid operator. So this is a successful example, I think the first of real-time provision of regulation based on the grid operator's signal. And of those 1,300 generators on the PJM system, we are the best at responding to that signal. We respond much more quickly because you can respond with a battery much faster in a power electronics box than you can with a large rotating piece of equipment. Okay, so this is a 1-hour span. Looking on a longer span, just to give you a sense of what that would be like for a car parked overnight, say, and then driving in the morning. In green is the battery state of charge, so it started at about 60% state of charge, and as the need for regulation up versus down changed, that state of charge of the battery fluctuates between about 30% and 50 or 60%. So you see the signal again with the request coming from the grid operator in blue, red is vehicle power. Throughout the night we're doing a good job of matching what they want, and the battery state of charge fluctuates a bit up and down as they need more up or more down power. But the vehicle needed to drive. In this case, it was going to drive about noon. And so at about 10 o'clock, we said, well, we're only at 30% state of charge right now, so let's adjust charge. So now we're ignoring, and that was the driver manually saying, start charging now. So the grid signal is now being ignored. The grid operator is saying, take it once up and down, and so forth. We say, we don't care. We're just charging the battery. So power goes to charge. We're using negative for charge, positive for discharge, which is a grid perspective and a vehicle perspective. So now we're just doing solid charging. And then as the battery state of charge gets up near the top, the charge rate tapers off so as to condition the battery properly. So you get a sense here. Grid with a high power interface, really key to this. We want something like 10 to 15 kilowatts. We can spend a lot of time selling grid services, and we can charge in the last hour or two prior to driving. So it's all, you have to have the design of the sizes, the power, the storage in kilowatt hours proper, and then you have a lot of flexibility of doing this.